Their new album already has 3 #1 hits. Today's guest, ISC 2014 worship leaders, Big Daddy Weave.
I am redeemed. You set me free.
Mike Weaver is the lead singer for the group Big Daddy Weave, and he joins us today live via Skype. Mike, without a doubt, Big Daddy Weave is the coolest band name ever. How did you guys come up with that name?
That's the nicest way we've ever been asked that question ever in 16 years. We were in college at the University of Mobile. That's the short answer. Everybody does stuff they didn't think through in college. They're leading worship on campus, and the first time somebody ever heard us, man, they came by and said, "Hey, we'd love for you to play across campus at this event. What's the name of your group?" And Big Daddy, if you're in the South and you're my size, you're Big Daddy. That's a nickname. Weaver is my last name, so Weave is the shortened version of that. And so the moral of the story, be careful what you call your band. You never know where this is going to go.
Mike, can you tell us a little bit about your background, how you guys met, and who first encouraged you to go into a music ministry?
It was amazing because all of us separately had just grown up playing music in the church, just leading worship. I don't think anybody really had ever gone out and had a dream of being, playing music in the world at all. On campus at the University of Mobile, we were worship leaders there, and it was amazing because there are lots of ministry students there, and so as they would go and take churches, we would get calls to come in and lead at their churches, which was a really neat experience. And so really, without ever making a phone call, the Lord just sort of confirmed in us that this is where we were headed by the amount of calls that we were receiving. Literally, it just turned into what we've done ever since.
Who would you say were your biggest musical influences when you were growing up, and why did you admire them?
Growing up in a Christian family, I remember the first time I heard Petra, I was like, oh my gosh! I mean, we were so excited about Petra. And man, it was all of those guys, the Christian rock bands of old, and appreciated them so much. As I got into college later, I loved music like Sting, and even later than that, John Mayer and some folks that had a pop sensibility but kind of a jazz leaning as well. We've also been very influenced always by modern worship music. So the Chris Tomlins and Matt Redmans, and then now even with like the Brian and Jen Johnson, and those folks out of California. We love to worship.
In 2002, you were nominated for New Artist of the Year. Was that a big surprise, and was that a boost as far as people showing up at your concerts?
I think the whole thing was just a huge honor. It was definitely a surprise to us because we tell people cool has never been in our repertoire, so to speak, and the fact that God would use us and continue to use us is amazing. The fact that anybody would show up at the shows is great, but the fact that the crowds are growing all the time because of what God is doing, not just because of something we have, but because of what God is doing, that means the most to us, and we're always excited about that.
In 2006 and 2007, you toured with Mark Schultz. What was that experience like, and what would you say you learned from him out on the road?
We love Mark Schultz. Mark Schultz is a great friend of ours to this day. He's one of the funniest individuals of all time. We love being on the road with him. I think what we learned from Mark more than anything is the value of being vulnerable. He tells such amazing stories and just really puts his heart right out there. And I think that really kind of made us less afraid to just share about who we are, and we see God connect with people in that way just so powerfully.
Your new album, Love Come to Life, already has 3 #1 hits on it. Why do you think it has been so successful?
I'm telling you, it's the Lord. I mean, that sounds like a cliche, churchy kind of answer, but honestly and truly, before this record came out, I mean, we were done. I mean, we were so tired, but the Lord began to bring these songs that were coming from nights of personal revival in us, where we were encountering Him by reaching out and just praying with people, man, every night at the shows. I can't tell you the difference He's made. These songs were born from those places of honesty in us, where we just literally, sometimes all we had, I divided the record in half. The songs that were pre and post hurt, really, and so we would just hurt on some songs, and man, I'm telling you, after that, when the Lord began to move, all of the rest of the record is filled up with praise, man, out of that kind of encounter with Him. And so it's Jesus. Jesus is the only way it's happened.
Well, my personal favorite Big Daddy Weave song is Redeemed. Can you tell us the story behind that song and what inspired you to write it?
that was the last of the hurting songs on that record. Redeemed came from a place of, man, I never even really knew how to talk about it, but I never felt good enough, even though I was a believer in Jesus. And I would give glory to God. I would love God, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and then love your neighbor as yourself. That's the part that I never got a hold of. I never knew how, the outlook I was supposed to have on my life as his child. And man, there was a day when I hated myself worse than I could ever remember, and I was sitting in the garage of my house in Tennessee. It's kind of below our house. And I was telling God everything I hate about myself, and it's like his presence interrupted my pity party that day, man. And he just began to fill my heart and my mind with his love for me. And he said, Mike, that still small voice that Jesus has in our hearts, that he said, you need to let me tell you what I think about you for once. And man, when he said to me, I was waiting for this grandiose spiritual, thing that was going to blow my mind. What he said, I like the way you smile. And I was destroyed, man. I was destroyed in the best possible way. That was the first time I actually feel like it broke through, and I began to see me the way Jesus sees me. And that's been something that we want to pass on to any person who will stand still long enough for us to tell them about it, is that they are precious to God right now, not because of their ability to get it right, but because of what Jesus has done.
Well, Mike, it was a lot of fun getting a chance to talk to you today. Is there anything that you'd like to say to our Shelby customers who plan on attending ISC 2014 in St. Louis this summer?
Well, we're excited to be there and to be part of the whole thing, to worship God together, to get to meet folks in person and, sign stuff or take pictures or whatever, that kind of end of stuff. But we'd also love it, if you got something that hurts, man, we'd love to pray with you. We'd love to just remind you who you are in Jesus, because he loves you so much. And we love doing that. And we're excited to be there this summer, man. Come out. We can't wait to see you.
Big Daddy Weave is one of the 10 most played artists on Christian radio over the past decade. Do not miss their live concert at ISC 2014 in St. Louis this summer. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it might look a little like this.
Will you stand up with us tonight? That I love to run in. There's a place where I sing these songs and pray.